Okay, we're back. First, any questions, comments, or observations on the four basic concepts we covered so far? Four basic concepts being, of course, who do you listen to? The teachability index, the training balance scale, and the four steps that you go through when learning information. Yes? Okay, good question. The question was, how do you get to unconscious competence? How do you get to that level? The answer is actually very simple. All of you start at the bottom, and when you're learning information, you get to conscious competence. That's when you know the information, but you have to consciously apply that information. You have to think about it. So you have to think about applying it. The only way you can get to unconscious competence is by utilizing one of two methods. Number one, by doing it over and over and over at the conscious competence level. The example is tying the shoelace. How did you get to unconscious competence when tying the shoelace? How did you get to unconscious competence by knowing your way from work to home? The answer is by doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again at the conscious competence level. You do it over and over and over again, and all of a sudden you become unconsciously competent. The question is, how actually? What's the mechanism in which to get to unconscious competence? Another way of calling unconscious competence is the knowledge bank, knowingness. It's where it's completely internalized. It's part of you. You don't have to think about it anymore. When you actually do something over and over and over and over again, you're actually creating neural pathways in the brain. These are biological connections between cells, dendrites, that connect and actually grow in size. And these neural pathways are energy channels where information or energy is transmitted through the brain. They're actual patterns that develop in the brain. So by getting to the unconscious competence level, you do that by doing it over and over and over and over again, creating that neural pathway. There is a second method. It's very interesting. And the second method is by observing someone else do it. So one of the advantages of having a mentor, one of the advantages of being an apprentice, is you get to observe someone else. This is the reason why associating with people who have what you want, and this is one of the major benefits of the societies, like the Brotherhood. Not only did we get the knowledge, but we got to observe people using the knowledge. And by that observation, monkey see, monkey do, that's exactly what I'm talking about. This is a major advantage. If you're learning from somebody who's doing it wrong, you're going to do it wrong as well. That's why if you want to be a great chef and you happen to be the apprentice of a spectacular chef, there's a good chance you're going to become a spectacular chef. If you want to be a spectacular musician and you get to work with and be an apprentice of a spectacular musician, then you get that advantage. You will become a spectacular musician. If you want to be a spectacular tennis player or golfer or basketball player, when you start associating with people who are brilliant in those professions, you get to see what they do, see how they act, and you turn around and get that as well. Success does breed success. It does rub off. Having a mentor, associating with people that have what you want, and in this case, utilizing this information, being able to witness them, watch them, observe them, does create neural pathways in the brain as well. Which is more important or which is better? Both are important. But I would suggest to you that unless you are observing on a regular basis, unless you are listening to, watching, mimicking, and modeling your behavior after those people that are actually doing this stuff, your level of proficiency, your level of success is not going to be as good. You actually may become unconsciously competent in doing it wrong because you do it the same way all the time. So learning this information from those who have achieved and use it professionally and perfectly and to a very high level is something that you have to do. It isn't a one-time thing, it's an ongoing process. So the way you get to unconscious competence is by observing those people who are doing it. Now, from a practical standpoint, how are you going to do this? Because when you guys leave here, you're not going to have that physical mentor. But guess what? We didn't have physical mentors that we were around every single day either. But we were around them once in a while, and when we were around them, we took full advantage of that situation and observed and then kept that picture in our mind, kept that meeting in our mind, and then mimicked thereafter. So what do? Well, you're going to have some advantages that other folks won't have. First, you're going to have a plethora of CD material being made available to you. And again, this information is not coming from me, the guru. I just happen to be the selected teacher and messenger of this information. The information is information that I learned from my association and involvement with the Brotherhood. I reached the highest level in that organization, as well as the other people that you've met, the members of the Freemasons, 33-degree members that have not officially left, but are sharing the information and releasing it to us, the Illuminati, Skull and Bones, and many of the other folks from the other societies as well. So we are a group of people that learned this information from the various societies we were a part of, many of whom were members of the elite class,